Folktales of Hawaii, He Mau Ka'au Hawaii, collected and translated by Mary Kavena Pukui, with Laura C.S. Green.
ʻAnelike, the rolling sweet potato island. ʻAʻapueo, or rolling sweet potato, was one of the 12 hidden islands of Kane, and it was ruled over by Kane Kokai, Kane who owns the sea. This Kane had 12 daughters, of whom the eldest named ʻAnelike, and the youngest were the prettiest. The youngest had been adopted in her infancy by Kane Kokai, and was considered so sacred that no mortal could ever set eyes upon her except in times of trouble. When ʻAnelike grew to womanhood, a great desire possessed her to visit the land of Hawaii. So, diving into the sea from a high potato-shaped cliff, she swam and swam until she reached her destination. There, a handsome fisherman named Kanako Kai, or Man of the Sea, after the mighty sea god of that name, found her sitting alone on the sand, and he took her home to his parents and gave a feast in honor of the strange maid of the sea. After a while, he asked her to become his wife, and she readily consented. A strange wife indeed for a fisherman, for she scorned all food except pi'oi, or llama berries. In those days, there was not much food for people except fish and mollusks, and a few berries, for Makali'i had tied everything up in a huge net and hung it in the sky. ʻAnelike soon tired of living with human beings. She grew peevish and fretful and found fault with her husband. This resulted in a quarrel, after which she swam back to the land of her birth. Day after day, Kanako Kai awaited her return. He walked from beach to beach, hoping against hope to catch a glimpse of her. Early one morning, he saw a woman swimming toward him, and ran to the spot where she was likely to land. His wife had come, but instead, this woman was a total stranger. "Aloha," she called. "Aloha," he answered. "Alas, grandson," she said, "I have come because of your tears for ʻAnelike. I am her grandmother, and I alone can tell you how to reach her." "How?" he asked eagerly. "Swim out to sea. When you see a rock covered with ʻAʻakulikuli, the scarlet-flowered purslane, that is the highest peak of Moku ʻAʻakulikuli, the island of silence, one of Kane's islands, which is about to appear from the depths of the sea. Don't stop. Swim on until you see a black, barren rock, which is Moku ʻEle, Black Island. Keep right on until you come to a potato-shaped rock. Grasp it and rest. There you will find your wife." Kanako Kai waited for no further instructions. Away he swam to search for his bride. About an hour's swim took him to Moku ʻAʻakulikuli, the island of silence. Another hour took him to Moku ʻEle, Black Island, and after the third hour he reached the rock shaped like a potato. Weary and hungry, he climbed to safety and was soon wrapped in slumber. He dreamed of the good woman of the sea who had directed him hither. "Kanako Kai," she seemed to say, "ʻAnelike is still angry with you and plans to kill you. 10 fair maidens will come, one after another, claiming to be ʻAnelike. Be sure to make everyone angry. When the 11th comes, neither answer nor look up, for it will be ʻAnelike herself. If you answer, she will smite you, but be silent until she pities you, and then she will give you a forgiving kiss." Kanako Kai awoke and found himself on the summit of a mountain, for the island had come up to the surface of the sea. Slowly he descended to the valley below. In the meantime, ʻAnelike's sisters had seen and admired him. They told ʻAnelike how they had found him asleep on the mountain, but she answered, "Go and see each for herself, if you can attract him." I surely hate him enough to kill him." So one sister started off to try her charms upon him. Drawing near to Kanako Kai, she called, "Oh, Kanako Kai, listen, here I am, ʻAnelike." He turned to look at her and answered, "You are not ʻAnelike. Your beauty can reach only to the neck of ʻAnelike." She was angry and returned to report her failure to her sisters. The next one tried, and she too came back angry. She had been compared to ʻAnelike's back. One by one, Kanako Kai compared the sisters to various parts of ʻAnelike's body: the arm, thigh, knee, leg, ankle, toes, and soles of her feet. Tearfully, they reproached her for sending them. "Go yourself," they sobbed, "and see how you like being insulted. He called us legs, heels, ankles, thighs. We were never called such names before." ʻAnelike reached for her best pa'u, wrapped it about her waist, and went forth to see her husband. When she came in sight of him, she called, "Here I am, ʻAnelike, your wife." He kept his head bent to the ground and did not answer. "Kanako Kai, look up. Can you not hear me calling you?" Still, he had made no response. Again and again, she called, and he remained silent, until at last her pity was stirred, and she kissed him on his forehead. Looking up, he smiled upon his long-lost wife. He was by this time very hungry, and grasping a stick of sugarcane, he began to chew it. Next, he ate a few bananas. ʻAnelike looked on in surprise, for no one on her island ever ate such things, and she had never seen anyone on Hawaii eat anything but berries, fish, and mollusks. "Oh, Kanako Kai," she cried, "you will make yourself ill. Eat the pioi and llama berries, for we have plenty of those here. Rats' food, birds' food. Indeed, I have seen the birds pecking at them and the rats eating them with relish. So I turn to the food for which they care little." "Rats' food?" thought ʻAnelike. "Indeed, I must learn to like human food better." Then she sat beside him and shared his sugarcane. "Alas!" cried her sisters, who had now come to seek her. "You will poison yourself. Let us eat too, that we may all die together." Their cries brought their attendants, who also wept bitterly. Kane himself heard these sounds of lamentation, and sent his adopted daughter mounted on the back of a huge dog. She spoke to them as follows: "Sisters and relatives of my sisters, weep not. These things are not poisonous. Eat, Kanako Kai. Bake the roots of the taro and potato. Someday soon, an insignificant little creature will scatter food throughout the islands, and all men shall eat freely of fruit and vegetables." At these words, their grief was soon turned to joy, and a few months afterward, a mouse nibbled open the huge net of makali'i, and food then grew plentiful all over the islands.